Newman.
Centering pass back in front of Rolson with a big save on Tanguay. It's Dwayne Rolson again. He has been the star of this hockey game. From the right point, a big save by Rolson. Oh, what a save by Rolson. For Harvey, fine save. Rebound, robbed by Rolson. The save of the year by Dwayne Rolson. Flipped the glove in the air and picked it off as it was headed just under the crossbar.
I don't know what I liked more, hearing Dwayne Rolson's name in a play-by-play call or hearing the voice of Bob Kurtz describing former Wild goaltender Dwayne Rolson manning the pipes here for the Minnesota Wild. What feels like a long, long time ago. Nice to catch up with Rolly the goalie. Joins us now here on KFAN. Rolly, Kevin Fallness, I can't wait to hear your voice, my friend.
Well, Kevin, what's been going on with you? You've been driving a school bus, eh? Getting the kids all over the place, running them around, or what?
You have no idea. You've been there, and I was looking at your kids as they ran through the Niagara program. I was actually talking to Mark Parrish here before the show, and I'll get into that here in a second. But we were talking about the fact that you had kids that were born in the year 2000, and then when you were here in 2003, you've got almost 30-year-olds running through your pasture.
Well, no, we're not quite that old yet. They're 25 and 23, but yeah, they're a quarter century old. And they're one starting on his life, and he's playing pro hockey over in Belgium and trying to move up the ranks over in Europe. And the other guy's has another year left of undergrad here at Niagara, and then his plan is he's already been accepted to University of Buffalo Med School and going to try and be a Dr. Burns or Dr. Boyd, all those guys. So we'll see what goes on with his life after college hockey's over.
Unbelievable. Well, let's start there then. What's going on off the ice? You talk about your kids. How about you? Sounds like you're doing some big things there at Niagara, right? For the purple, are they the Purple Eagles?
Yeah, the fictitious bird, Purple Eagles, yeah. So, yeah, we're here. So this year, I've been here for 2 years. So last year I did a lot of the scoring, try to create offense. So we actually had some success that way until playoffs. So we had a good year trying to create. And then this year went more into sort of being sort of help the head coach with some different things, but focusing more on goaltending when it becomes the individual work here. So we actually have a Stillwater goalie, a freshman first year, I guess I should say, goalie from Stillwater. He's here. So Pony Pride, as they call it there in Minnesota. So it's great. His aunt and uncle live right across the street from us, so I know his cousins very well and all that stuff. So it's nice to talk about being back in Minneapolis, and then we have a Latvian goalie, so he's in his second year, so it's been good. So a lot of teaching, but it's been a lot of fun, and obviously growing pains with the younger guys, but it's been good.
It sounds like you're enjoying it, and you're a guy that loved being on the ice. That was part of what Parrish said. He said, it's my off season, and Rolly won't let me leave the ice until I shoot about 100 more pucks at him. So I know how much you enjoy the on ice stuff. Is this helping to fill that void after hanging him up? I guess now 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah, it does fill a void. It's a lot of fun spending some time with the young guys, and we're at a level too that you can throw some different things at them, and they're trying different things, and the best part is when they succeed, right? It's the joy that they get in succeeding. And then, yesterday I broke down a one-timer with a guy, that 22-year-old guy that's played pretty high level. And I'm like, you never worked on any of this. So, and then getting him shooting these things, and he's like, how come I never learned this before? So it's been fun, and enjoyable that way. Trying to get these guys going and giving them success, but also teaching the small things that they haven't got over the years. So it's been a lot of fun.
Talking to former Wild goaltender Dwayne Rolson, now with the Purple Eagles of Niagara, but not that long ago, he spent 14 years in the National Hockey League, 4 years with the Minnesota Wild from 2001 to 2006. When I talk about former Wild goaltender Dwayne Rolson, when you think about your time spent here in the Twin Cities, what flashes before your brain?
I think, just the playoff run, obviously, with the fan support. But outside the game, we made a lot of great friends in Minneapolis. We loved our time there. We're still in contact with people there, and did a lot of stuff with the St. Paul Police, a lot of ride-alongs, a lot of time with them, charitable stuff with them, and it's we love Minneapolis. And even when I was coaching in Anaheim, I commuted. We lived in Stillwater, then we went over to Hudson, Wisconsin. Kids played in Stillwater, but I traveled back and forth, and we made that home for a couple of years after I retired. So, we love the area, and we still get back, once or twice a summer, and we do not call the Fullness family because they are way too busy to catch up with them.
I could use a babysitter anytime you want to just come on over and hang out with the 11-year-old. You're more than welcome, Rolly.
Well, you know what I'll do? I'll spoil them, put a bunch of sugar in them, and then you guys got to pay the price. Melissa got to pay the price when you get home, Yeah. So I wouldn't want to do that to you.
I very much appreciate that. You had no tie to Minnesota before 2001. Who do you credit for bringing you to the state of hockey initially and setting down these roots where at least one of your kids was born back in 2003?
Yeah, the youngest was born there at the Woodwinds Hospital in Woodbury. So, but Doug Risebell, Doug was the GM at the time. He was when I first broke in or signed as a free agent, Doug was the GM in Calgary. So, we had a relationship from then. And then, Doug brought me in and gave me a call in the summer. Actually, Melissa and I were on the golf course, and he's like, "Rolly, you want to be a part of the Wild organization?" And from there, it carried on, and it was great to get an opportunity. And playing for Jock was awesome. I knew Mike Ramsey from Buffalo. Learning from Jock and Rammer and I had a good relationship in Buffalo, and I learned a lot from him in Buffalo, and I knew I was going to learn more. Playing for both of them. So I still use some of Jock's stuff today, and all the learning stuff that we got from Minnesota. It was just a great experience all the way around from our team, how close our team was to the culture, the liveliness of the city, and everything else. So I really appreciate Doug for getting me into the organization.
We're celebrating 25 years of Minnesota Wild hockey, which, blows your mind anyway. But part of it is bringing back some of the old time names throughout the course of this season. And at the beginning of this year, for the first time since 2009, saw Jacques Lemaire in St. Paul. And not only that, the entire inaugural coaching staff, along with Bob Mason, he wasn't on the inaugural staff, but it was certainly a big factor in the first 15 years of Minnesota Wild hockey. But he was here, Tremblay, Rammer, and then, of course, Doug Risebrough as well. All of them in attendance at the same time. If you can imagine what that was like. Again, first time since 2009, I've made eye contact with the great Jacques Lemaire.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm sure he made you laugh, and that's one thing people don't know about Jock. He's pretty funny. He's got a dry sense of humor, and so got a lot of one-liners that come out, and all you do is laugh when you get them in a relaxed state. So it's awesome, and like I said, they're great people, great human beings. So they're a lot of fun to be around, and us as players, it was great to be around them, and we learned a lot, but also we had a lot of laughs. Between Todd Woodcross videos before pregame to Jock chirping guys in practice and telling guys that he could shoot it harder than them, which he could. So it was a lot of fun, a lot of great memories, especially now that you're bringing that stuff up. reminiscent about it. It's a lot of great memories, that's for sure.
These days they've got a pretty good goalie tandem in Philip Gustafsson and Jesper Wallstedt, but the first true goalie tandem for the Minnesota Wild, all apologies to Jamie McLennan and Noodles back in the first year, but it was the Dwayne Rolson, Manny Fernandez combination. What made you two such an effective pair when you guys were playing off each other?
I think a lot of it was, we did get along. We supported one another as best we could, and give a lot of credit to Mace and Jock. We played against teams who we had success against. He's like, okay, well, we're playing this team. This is what they want to do. Well, Rolly's good at that. We're playing this team. Manny's good at that. And we would play against the teams that we had success against, we had confidence against, and we were fortunate enough that we both played really well against those teams, and give our coaching staff credit for allowing us to play against those teams. So, we sort of got into the 1A, 1B situation there, which was unheard of at the time, but Jock made it work, and obviously with our defensive system, it allowed us to play a different, be confident and be aggressive in certain situations. And, so I think give them credit for allowing us to be a tandem and have success against certain organizations that we did have the success with.
Then I'm wondering, you already alluded to the 2003 run, and, the Wild haven't been out of the first round since 2015, and they certainly haven't had a run like you guys experienced back in 2003. But part of the magic of that was watching both you and Manny handle the different situations. Did you guys go in with a game plan like Rolly's going to be the guy this time, and then once you got past the Avalanche, then it became this? Because you survived the first half of the series against Colorado. Manny finishes it up, and then you guys kind of split time against the Canucks. And I'm just wondering how that evolved as the play, or was it just kind of spur of the moment? Jacques and Bob just kind of decided amongst the goalies that this is the way it's going to be, and you guys just kind of rolled with it.
Yeah, they decided who was playing, and they had the analytics to decide who was going to play. The analytics in those days were the gut feelings. I actually tore my groin in game 2, so
I didn't know that.
It was in game 2 against Colorado, so it was a little, physically I couldn't really do much, but Manny went in and stole the show, which was great, and Bruno scoring in overtime, and in Patrick Roy's career and all that stuff, like all these great memories, but give them a lot of credit for, okay, we're going to hide that he's hurt. You probably didn't even know I was hurt.
No, I didn't.
We hid it, and, we kept on going and sort of kept it away from the media, kept it away from the other teams. And, we were able to surprise them even though I couldn't play. So so it was a good job by them, but at the same time, great job by the coaching staff of playing guys who had success against certain teams.
That whole run was so magical, and there was so many different points you could point back to. But the first one, rallying back from a 3-1 deficit to beat the Colorado Avalanche in a best-of-7 series, 4-3, on face value, that was incredible. But really, have you ever gone back to look at that roster and see the Hall of Famers that are around that squad? Patrick Roy, top of the heap, but Joe Sakic, Peter Forsberg. I mean, you go down the list. It's incredible what you guys really. And again, all apologies and all respect to Jacques Lemaire and the group that you guys put together in just the third year of the Wild franchise. But you guys beat, it was David versus Goliath, literally, in that series.
Yeah, it was. And a good friend of mine, Rob Blake, was on that team as well. And,
yeah,
talking to him in the summer, I said, what was the difference there? And he said, you guys played as one person. There was one team. We got a little bit individually, got into our mind, and then Willie Mitchell against Forsberg, it became a battle. Peter just sort of wanted to win that battle, and we wanted to win the power play of the special teams, where we, as in Minnesota, we just want to win the game. We didn't care about Willie and Peter. We didn't care about our special teams. We just wanted play the best Minnesota Wild hockey we could. Like, if you go back and watch those games, Matt Johnson was a big asset for us, like blocking shots, doing those little things that, you wouldn't think of, but he was a go-to guy for us in that series. And that just goes to show, like, us playing as a team, like our team depth over their individual depth won that series for us.
It's incredible to think of some of the names that are still around the franchise to this day. Wes Walz is doing TV. Brad Bombardier is the guy that's building up the young players within this organization. Richard Park doing some scouting work. So there's still a lot of those familiar names bouncing around here.
Yeah, it's great to see, and it's awesome that they're a part of it. And it's when you're a young organization, right? You go through traditions, and you're trying to go back and use those experiences to teach these young guys. That's when I got traded to Edmonton. That's first thing you're walking through the locker room, and next thing you know, you got Gretzky, Coffey, Messi. You got these guys walking through the locker room, and it's like, oh my God, what's going on here? And with Billy being there, he's got a lot of great experiences to help these young guys, and the experience gives you longevity in playoffs and gives you the opportunity to grow and live off the experiences that have happened in the past, and that alone is worth millions of dollars.
You got plenty on your plate on the college scene. You got the family, all that other good stuff. How closely are you following the NHL game these days?
I when I'm at home, if it's on, I watch it. Unfortunately for Wild organization, that doesn't get on too often because my oldest is a Dallas fan and my youngest is an Oiler fan. So those games get thrown on when they're around.
How dare you?
But
when there's a
game on, like I try to watch. Obviously, I try to watch Minnesota as much as I can, but I usually get outruled. I don't control the clicker in my house anymore. The young guys do. So, but when I get an opportunity, I do watch. And obviously, with Bruno being in Nashville, guys that I played with, you sort of follow what they're doing and what's going on with them, and you try and keep in contact and keep up with the current game.
Well, I hope to see you at Grand Casino Arena soon. I mean, I know you're very busy, but if you can make your way to Stillwater, it's really not that far to St. Paul. Maybe you could swing by and say hello sometime.
I would love that. I just need to get the invite, Kev. I haven't got an invite back yet.
It's an open invitation. You know what I'll do? I'll get in line with Sickman, and we'll see if you can get one of those fancy charters to fly the Rolison clan out here, and you can take in a game in person, and maybe we can get them off the Stars and the Oilers bandwagon.
There you go. That'd be good. We gotta get these guys and show them what real hockey's all about, right?
There we go. It's so great to hear your voice, Rolly. I hope all is well. Look forward to catching up again very soon. But good luck out there with the Purple Eagles and the entire Rolison family as they continue to go through their adulthood.
Thank you very much, Kev. Say hi to Melissa. She's the brains behind that family, so make sure you say hi for me. Okay?
What you meant to say is she's a lucky gal. You say hi to your Melissa as well. Thanks, Rolly.
I will. All right, bud. Thanks for the time.
Dwayne Rolson, 14 years in the National Hockey League, 4 with the Minnesota Wild from 01 to 06, had to straddle that unfortunate work stoppage back in 05, but 62 wins with the Wild, 227 in the National Hockey League, but 62 with Minnesota, 5th in Wild history in starts, 6th in victories, 3rd in shutouts. He's at 15 shutouts in his tenure with the Minnesota Wild, and I think top 2 or 3 in both goals against average and save percentage. A wonderful name from the past of Minnesota Wild hockey. Quick break and then much more to come here. About 40 minutes left to go as we fill in for Paul Allen and Eric Nordquist here on KFAN.
Before we go, the fan wants to give a shot to win bonus bucks to the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com. The keyword is apt with the Olympics go on. The keyword is gold for this hour. Keyword gold. KFAN.com. Keyword gold. Chime in what's happening with your favorite KFAN shows. You can. You can make a voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. So let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard text message and data rates apply.
Good morning, Kevin and Brett, and thanks for the hockey-themed 9 to noon. What a treat. I may be in the minority here, but I am not so keen on taking a huge swing at the trade deadline. I don't want to lose Urov. He's grown by leaps and bounds. I don't want to lose Stramel. He has shown he is a very valuable commodity, and he's going to light it up, and we will have him by playoffs. That's just me. Go Wild.
I hate to say it, but I agree with Brett. I don't want somebody really good like Trocheck. We need to shoot for the stars and get somebody great, no matter what the trades are. Thanks.
Is that Kevin Gorg?
It did sound like Gorg. That was the first thing that came to my mind. I also like the fact that you found two on opposite ends of the spectrum there. One that agrees with you and one that clearly does not. And I know which one you fall in line with.
I don't want to lose Urov.
I don't want to lose Urov. I don't want to lose... You don't want to lose Stramel. You don't want to lose Volstead. But if you're going to make a big swing, then unfortunately those are going to be most likely some of the casualties to bolster your lineup. The question that I have is, does it happen now or does it happen this offseason? You have an awesome opportunity right here, right now. So I think that's one thing about Bill Guerin that I think we've learned is that he's not afraid to swing big and go for the fences. I'm just curious to see how this one plays out. We did have, by the way, this on-air production meeting to finish off the show. We're going to go to Milan and we're going to check in with Scott Burnside. Has done a lot of work in the National Hockey League. Did some work with the Wild during the playoffs a few years ago. Has worked for ESPN and now is doing, I think, some work for the NHLPA. But he's going to take us inside the Olympic Village, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. By the way, as I check through two periods, the Czechs lead France 4-3, so that's becoming a little bit of a hockey game there for Team Czechia, who I think would be the odds-on favorite. But it'd be fun to hear how things are inside the Olympic Village, inside that building, as Team USA and the rest of them go at it on the men's stage in particular. So that should be fun at least.
What time will that be?
That'll be in about 10 minutes from now to wrap up the show. He does a great job, and it'll be fun to catch up with him. But you're in the camp that you want the big swing, and you want it right now. You don't want to wait for Christmas morning. You want it on the 24th.
I mean, I do. Here's the thing. Me saying that, my point was, I don't want to lose these guys that we were just talking about, the Volstedts, the Urovs. I don't want to, and I think my point is even further going. I don't think they should lose them at all unless it's an unbelievably big swing. So that's why I'm like, we're really going to lose Volstedt for Trocheck, who's a solid player and he's good, but is he the over-the-top guy and we're going to lose our potential, future franchise goaltender for it? That's where I kind of go, I'm not sure. I think it speaks to how much I value those guys that I don't want them traded unless it's a break glass. We've got a chance to go get, Brady Tkachuk or something, insane that you couldn't imagine, similar to the Quinn Hughes thing. Guerin's done it before. He could do it again. I just think unless it's a big fish, you shouldn't do it. I think you got to do it this year if you're going to. Maybe it's a better opportunity to in the summer, but now is that the iron is hot now. And Quinn Hughes is here now. And you don't know for a fact. You can assume, and everyone has reported that it's likely that he'll resign, but you don't know for a fact if he will be here for the next playoffs. Things could change. You hope that he does, but you know for a fact that he's here for these playoffs with Kaprizov, with Boldy, who are red hot. That's the time you make the swing, not hoping that he re-signs, because he could say All-Star break or Four Nations face-off, whatever they end up doing. You know what? It's been a great run, but I'm going to sign somewhere else, so you may as well trade me. He could very well say that. I don't think he will, but you don't know 100%. It could be 99, but it's not 100.
It feels like it's breaking towards him staying in Minnesota for a long, long time. But like you say, nothing is guaranteed. Find me one or two more talkbacks while you do that to the text line 64686 from Drew. Thank you, Brett and Kevin. Football is done. Don't care about it for a while. So glad to listen to hockey talk. I'm with you, Drew. We love our football talk, but this is just a break in it. That's all. From the 651 area code, being 36 years old, I haven't seen anything as a winner for Minnesota sports or Olympic men's hockey. I want gold and the cup. Wants a little bit of everything from the 218 area code. Hockey all program, best 9 to noon ever. I want to ask, how is Boldy's recognition in the league changing from all these national games he's being showcased in? Even before the Olympics, Boldy's star is shining bright, and that's why he's getting an elevated role here on the Team USA roster, playing on what you could term the second line with Gensel and Matthews. That should tell you everything they think about Matt Boldy, who, by the way, leads All-Americans with 32 goals scored in the regular season.
Hey guys, Dylan from Northfield. How about that sprint back, save a goal from Matt Boldy yesterday? Pretty cool. Hope to see you guys back at the slot machine after the Olympic break. Go Wild.
That's an interesting nickname for Grand Casino Arena. I've gotten used to GCA because I always wrote down X as my abbreviation. Now I can go GCA, and I've just gotten used to saying it. It doesn't sound as good as the slot machine, I'll give you that. So maybe that'll catch on. But Matt Boldy, that's the other thing about Matt Boldy. What makes him so dynamic is not what he does in putting the puck in the net, which is huge. And that's enormous and especially needed for this Minnesota Wild team. But it's what he does on both ends of the ice. And that was you got to see it firsthand yesterday. He's wrapped his arms around that part of the game and playing with Jules Eriksson and playing with Marcus Johansson. That is what has made that line so darn good. And you got to see it again yesterday.
Yeah, I want the gold medal. I want the Stanley Cup. I want the parades. And I want them now.
That's it.
Are you in the library?
That's the whole talk back.
Are people in your house trying to sleep? You just creep me out. But I'm with you. I like the sentiment for sure.
Yeah, it's like
I want it all too.
It's like the girl with the golden goose at Willy Wonka. I want it now.
Yes.
No time to wait.
Exactly. Squeeze in a break, and then when we continue, we'll wrap up the show with Scott Burnside from Milan. That's next on KFAN. Yeah.
Never miss your chance to know what's the latest sports news is in town. Chances to win tickets, or just knowing what's going on with your favorite fan shows. Follow KFAN 1003 on all of our social channels like Instagram, TikTok, and X. Stay connected and follow the sports leader, The Fan.
In the home stretch of this 3-hour tour, filling in for Paul Allen and Eric Nordquist on a Friday on KFAN. A little bit of a surprise in the old text machine. Got a response from my buddy Scott Burnside. He's over there in Milan. He's going to take us inside the Olympic Village and everything going on there for the 2026 Winter Olympics. Scott Burnside joins us now. Scott, Kevin Fallness, KFAN, thanks for taking time from your busy writing schedule over there, I'm sure.
Kevin, always a pleasure to chat. And in fact, when I came down from the Press Tribune, it was the start of the third period. France Chechia, and surprisingly close tilt, but I see if you recall, I think Chechia scored 3. So the natural order has been restored in this group game here. Late afternoon start, Milan time, and then later tonight we will see Canada and Switzerland, which will be pretty interesting tilt. I think the Swiss are a team that sort of fall in behind big three, at least on paper, with Canada, the United States, Sweden, although Sweden was shocked. I don't want to say shocked, but Sweden definitely came up short against arch rivals Finland earlier today. So the Swedes have not been as dominant early in this tournament as I think some people thought, but Switzerland definitely has a talent, and I think they're going to give Canada a good test after Canada opened its win against Chechia last night.
Yeah, I hope so. That's a powerful Canadian team, but it would be nice to see someone give them a test and make them have something to think about. To update it, as you said, Czechs now lead France 6-3 with 15 minutes left to go in the final frame. We're talking to Scott Burnside. He's over there in Milan. A big history in writing around the National Hockey League, going back to your days at ESPN. Followed the Wild around for a playoff series as well back in the day. What are you doing these days, Scott, before we talk about what's going on over there in Milan?
I'm here doing NHLPA, creating content for them, and I've been doing for them for the last couple of years on different programs that they have going, and was at Four Nations with them last winter, and lucky enough to be here in Milan following the tournament for NHLPA and their website and their social media stuff. So I feel fortunate to this is my social life, so I've very little complaint. I've tried to be great at all times here.
I can't imagine this ever gets old following the Olympics, especially, I mean, I don't think it matters who it is that's involved, but I mean, personally for me, there's nothing better than best on best hockey. And you're right there at center stage watching this team. These guys go back at it again for the first time since 2014. You got the NHL back involved. It has to be, I mean, almost an honor to actually be there to witness it in person.
Yeah, and I think you've hit the nail on the head there. And especially, with the two Olympics for a variety of reasons, COVID and other issues, you really do get a sense from the players how much this means to them. And not just the players, the coaching staffs and the management team. Had a chance to chat with Bill Aaron of Team USA the other day, and down the list, support staff, trainers, everyone's connected with these national teams who are playing in the first best Olympics 2014 in Sochi. The excitement really is off the charts, and I think we've seen some really interesting hockey so far. It's only going to build, get out of the group play and into the elimination, where the anxiety ramps up because it's don't lose and go home, and no one wants to leave Milan. No one wants to leave the Athletesville and this atmosphere. And it's so different than the Stanley Cup playoff. It's different. Even the World Cup of Hockey, which is, they breathe, the NHLPA and the NHL have breathed new life into the World Cup of Hockey. In 2 years' time, there will be another best on best tournament, and fans truly can't get enough of it, and the players of it. But the Olympics stands alone, and we're going to see that here. Over the first few days, you really see anticipation from the players about what's ahead. We're pretty soon going to get into the real meat of it, and that's, I think, you'll see the best hockey, and you'll see the even higher level of emotion on the ice, and that's it's terrific to be here, and I hope you're getting a sense of it, watching and listening far away.
Yeah, I mean, Peacock and USA and NBC, they're doing a great job of bringing you inside the building, but you're actually there. And I'm just watching France versus the Czechs, and the building looks electric. It looks like the atmosphere is great. Take us inside that building, no matter who it is that's playing, whether it's the Slovaks, the Canadians, the Americans, even the Italians. What's it like inside that building when there's a game being played?
Yeah, no, it is. It's for all of the discussion about the construction issues, and there, it wasn't maybe exactly how, it went from the IIHF to the NHLPA and NHL drew it up. But it's come together very nicely. I haven't heard, it's funny, we were talking about it earlier today after the Finland-Sweden game. I think the ink has held up very well. Players they're using that as a talking point. The quality of the ice is great. It's a nice building. It's right. The seats are almost always full here, and every game you see the different colors, and with the bell. Every team has the sort of the trademark or whip. It's a very different vibe than an NHL ring, that's for sure. And of course, all the jerseys and the scarves and the hats, stuff like that. Really is a unique environment here in the arena, and with the games, 3 games like today. I will tell you, the 9 p.m. start local time, that makes for a late evening. The filter in, and then they filter. It does create a real sort of carnival atmosphere around the whole proceedings here.
Real quick, let me ask you about the Americans. What have you thought about? I know it's the tournament is just underway, and the U.S. beats up on Latvia. I say beats up on them. 5-1 was the box score. They weren't beating up on them early on in that contest when they had a couple of goals waved off. But what do you think of the Americans' first foray here, and what do you think of them going forward?
Yeah, no, well, having, I thought it was impressive that they didn't get discouraged. There were back center interference, highlighting some of the different rules here at the Olympic Games. Very sort of standard in my mind for goaltender interference, as they called it back. Frankly, surprised they called both of them, but the other one or not. But to me, what was impressive was the depth of scoring. We use our air quotes here. We've got Brock Nelson and Hughes playing with either Jake Miller or Vincent Trocek. But that's not a bad. I thought it was dynamic. Again, I thought Jack Eichel might have been the best player for the American squad. And Quinn D is so dynamic. We like how can blue line move the puck and create offense from the back end. So again, yes, it was Latvia. You play the competition that's in front of you. I think they're only going to get better. It's going, once you get further in the tournament and you play a little bit different competition, when it's that challenge but in the United States are in the sixth boat in this tournament, needing to play their own game and develop their own systems, and not worry too much about the fact that they aren't playing the competition up to them just yet. And I think that's it's a process. I thought both Canada and the United States very impressive, and it's hard not to see them right now as the two best teams in this tournament in the days of the play.
Awesome stuff, Scott. I really appreciate your contributions, joining us over there from Milan. Remind us again, where will we find your work from Milan and anything else that you're doing here in and around your wonderful work? And I think we lost our connection, which is fine. It was getting it probably went on a little longer than need be. He's overseas. He's there inside the building watching France and the Czechs go toe to toe. Looks like the Czechs are going to come out on top. Last I saw, 6-3 in the third period. Too.
I mean, the French were taking it to them. They were winning at one point. So it's
were
not
they
just
really? They had the lead at one point?
I think it was 3-2 French. So yeah, and I don't know if I could name a single player on the French team off the top of my head.
I'm thinking you probably can't. But it was nice to check in with Scott. That kind of developed out of nowhere. And again, I think most hockey fans know that name, and he's doing some good stuff over there in Milan. Sounds like he's writing for the NHLPA. So it was just kind of nice to hear. And that was so much talk going into it. That's what I wanted to get into him. But I mean, the connection was horrible. The talk going into this tournament was about the amenities and how garbage it was and how bad the ice was going to be. I haven't heard anyone talk about that at all, and we're knee deep into this tournament. I mean, the women have been out there for 2 weeks already.
Does it feel like the rink is smaller? Because that was the big talker, is like 1.5 feet shorter lengthwise on each side, so 3 feet total.
It's hard. It doesn't seem like it to me. It would be fun to hear the players talk about it and how if it feels a little smaller, a little more congested than what they're used to. I don't notice it. Do you?
No, I don't. I feel like if anyone gets screwed, it'd be the goaltending.
Yeah.
Because it's those point shots are coming in. I don't. It just thinks that I think it was the metric system conversion that got screwed up from what I read, that they didn't do the
of all things.
I know.
Seriously.
You can't make it up. So,
but regardless,
it's been a great tournament.
It has. It's been great hockey, and hopefully it continues. The Americans got a couple of games over the course of the weekend, and then you get on to the medal rounds, and I mean, it's going to be over in a flash, but just enjoy the ride. And hopefully, again, the Americans, I don't know that they're the favorites in this thing, but they at least have to come away with a medal, and it'd be awesome to grab the third. I heard Mike Sullivan was quoted as saying, I think in his pregame speech yesterday, tell me if you've heard this, since 1930-something, only 38 Americans have won Olympic gold in men's ice hockey history. 18 in 1960, 20 in 1980. That's it. 38 in the history of men's hockey in the Winter Olympics. So you have an opportunity to, do something special here, and it's right there. This is their best opportunity since 1980, their best team. Hopefully they can continue to get it done. I don't worry about the preliminaries so much, but then how do you build upon it going forward? And, of course, waiting out there in the wilderness is the boogeyman that is the Canadian squad.
Yeah, and you got to hope you get the best possible. There's no reason they can't take 9 points from this group.
They have to.
With Denmark and
should.
Germany. I mean, it has to be. Germany's going to be a tough little matchup. Nico Sturm on the other side and Stutzla.
Yeah.
So that'll be the best test, and it's good for the U.S. that that's the final test going into the medal round.
Draisaitl, too.
Bit. And Draisaitl as well, who could forget. So, it's a solid little squad. But as we're finding out, the Finns got upset. The French were giving it to the Czechs, who we would have never suspected of putting up a fight at all. Granted, I think they're doubling them up now, 6-3, but still, it's not as easy as just we're the U.S. and we're going to roll over whoever we're playing.
No.
Or for Canada either. That first period of the Canadian game was 0-0 the whole time. I mean, they were, flummoxed for a lot of that. So, of course, they ended up rolling, and we don't need to talk about that. There is a text I wanted to address as far as the Wild goes.
Okay.
I did want to mention it, and you started. The Wild already gave up. This is 612 guy. We were talking about trades and big swings. The Wild already gave up a boatload of future commodities for Hughes. You can't do that again to that level for another big fish. It leaves your cupboards too empty going forward. And if you don't win that cup, yeesh. Adding another solid player, not elite, gives us enough depth to make a legitimate run, but it still allows for us to hold a top piece or two for the future. I'm here to tell you, we've been doing this game for 25 years of just wait for what our future holds when this core comes to town. Just wait until Coyle and Granlund and all get healthy and Nino all come together. We've been playing this game forever.
Yeah.
If this isn't the team that you look at and go, yeah, this is where we go all in.
But the other part of that argument, and I've heard Russo say this on one of his fancy blogs, there's going to be some bigger fish out there this offseason. And if you mortgage the future now, that takes you out of the running for some of those big pieces come July or whatever it might be. So that's something to consider. If you give up Volstead, again, all speculation, Volstead, Yurov, Stramel now, and go for the finish line now, that leaves you no opportunities for who knows what's available this summer, whether that's an Austin Matthews, one of the Kachucks, Jack Hughes. That takes you out of the running for those potential big fish.
Well, at the end of the day, we just don't know who is. I mean, we can speculate, we can list off names, but we don't know who would be available now and who may be available in the summer. So only Bill Guerin and the guys inside the GM circle really know what's out there. Am I okay with waiting if we do get said big fish in the summer? Absolutely.
But are you going to wet your pants because you don't know what's going to happen then? You're just going to know what happened now. And so you're amongst the group that's going to wet their pants that they didn't go, sell everything now because...
Third time this week. It's at the end of the day, you don't know what they were offered. You can... read about it, and you can listen to Russo, as you lovingly refer to him as America's favorite
blogger.
But you just don't know what was offered until probably the book comes out later. So it's hard to be mad if they don't have a price that they're willing to give up for the guy.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see. It's hard to believe that we had to take a 3-week pause in the middle of the season, but there is the final 24-game push coming up. That will begin at the end of the month. Like you said, they start right off on the road in Colorado, followed up the very next night in Utah. But hopefully everyone, at least the 10 Olympians that didn't go over, the rest of the roster can carry the mail there, especially in that first game back and, measuring stick game against the top-rated Colorado Avalanche. Do you think they're catchable? Can the Wild pull it off?
I think it's possible.
Last I saw, there was a 5-point gap, but they had a ton of games in hand.
Uh-huh. I think it's possible. I don't think it's likely. I think it would have more to do with the Avalanche falling off and looking more human than it would be the Wild, because the Wild are playing at pretty good clip, basically ever since they got Hughes. I mean, there's been dips, but it's never been for very long. Where the Avalanche are just playing at an otherworldly level right now.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. The biggest thing that can happen for the Wild coming out of the Olympic break is that they come back healthy. Again, 8 guys on the NHL roster, 10 guys total. It's going to be a physical and mental grind to get from here to February 22nd when they award that Olympic gold. Whether you get gold, silver, or bronze, the big thing for the Wild coming out of the Olympic break is that they're healthy, and that's the best thing that you can hope for as they make that final push towards the Stanley Cup playoffs. This was fun, Brett. Yeah. Thank you very much for having me over the course of these last 3 hours. This was a good time.
And you know what? Why don't we just do it tomorrow?
I guess. We do have a good show already set up for tomorrow. We got Pat and Wally from the road. They're in South Bend. They're going to join us for the first hour and a half or whatever, so that'll be good. Wally Shaver and Pat Micheletti, they'll be on the call tonight. The Gophers taking on Notre Dame, 5:30 pregame. Puck drops just after 6 o'clock, so we'll get a recap of tonight tomorrow with Pat and Wally. I also think, and hopefully we have a better connection with Michael Russo, but America's favorite blogger is going to join us from across the pond from Milan, give us kind of an update on what's going on there from the Olympic Village. So that'd be great to hear from him. Tony Scott with our Youth Hockey Hub report. And this is a big weekend for high school hockey, boys and girls. So it'll be good timing to catch up with Scott Peller, with Tony Scott. We also have Scott Pellerin, former Wild captain. He'll join us, and a special surprise guest, a former Golden Gopher, at 11 a.m., so you won't want to miss that. So that, amongst other reasons, good enough for you to get out of bed tomorrow morning, Brett Blakemore.
100%. Can't wait.
All right, well, thank you for your time. Thanks to everyone. We'll be sending out some texts with some tickets to an upcoming Minnesota Wild game. If you don't get that text, you can still go. wild.com/tickets. Good luck to you and yours if you don't get that text. Thanks for listening. We got the Common Man and 10&B coming up next, right here on KFAN.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.